Hi there, welcome to AQ Media. I'm Ariana Quiros, and I'm so happy to have you here with me today. If you're watching this, you're probably thinking about taking the plunge into freelancing, or maybe you're already juggling a 9-to-5 while building your freelance business. Either way, today I'm sharing some tried and true tips that helped me build my media freelance business, AQ Media, while still working a 9-to-5. Trust me, you can do it too, and I'm here to show you how. Now, before we dive in, I want to ask you something. How many of you are already exhausted just thinking about managing your 9-to-5, a side hustle, and trying to keep your relationships intact? Trust me, it's hard. It is. But what if I told you that you could not only survive, but thrive with just a little bit of structure and some powerful tools? So let's talk about how I went from side hustle to full-fledged freelance business without burning out. Tip number 1 for today is the importance of establishing your passion. Starting your freelance journey means making sacrifices. Time with family, your friends, maybe even your health, your mental health. They all become things that you have to balance. But here's the catch. Your passion is what makes those sacrifices worth it. When I was done with my contract in Yuma and I came back home to start a new job, I found that my passion for telling people stories wasn't quite at the point where I wanted it to be. I wanted to be spending more time telling the stories that I wanted to tell. It was a void in my life that I knew needed to be filled. So I dipped my toe into freelancing because I wanted to make an impact again. It wasn't about making money at first, it was about chasing the passion. And definitely, I can tell you, it wasn't about making the money at first. I remember taking on way too many projects that were underpaid or free just to get the experience, which is good. I think that you can do those things at the beginning because it's important to establish credibility, especially when you're building your freelance business. Just don't do it forever because that's what's going to burn you out fast. So the first step is this: identify what fuels you. When you're at your rock bottom, when you've done so many projects for free or for friends that your passions just start to feel not what they used to be. What are you excited to create? Whether it's storytelling, design, photography, or anything else. Knowing this will be your anchor when things get tough. So for example, AQ Media's passion is to tell people stories that wouldn't always have the mean. So for example, AQ Media, my passion is to tell people stories that wouldn't normally have the means to do it. Step number 2 is to create a branding kit. And talking about branding, I know this can feel like a daunting task, especially if you're just starting out and you're not necessarily a graphic designer or a writer. Trust me, getting your branding right from the beginning can save you a lot of headaches later. Your brand is honestly more than just a logo. It's the colors, the fonts, and the style, and the voice, and the tone that will tell your audience who you are before they even hear your voice or see your face. So things like your logo and your tone and your font are important to establish from the beginning. When I first started AQ Media, I spent weeks getting my brand together. I didn't rush it. I even went through a rebrand of sorts after college. I remember first building my website for a final project my senior year, and then a couple years later looking back at it and being like, oh, what did I do? You know, you're going to go through times where you want to rebrand, and that's okay. Don't do it multiple times, but there are definitely appropriate times where you can do it. I did it at a good time where I was starting my business professionally and establishing my LLC, so it was a good time to do it. But again, I didn't rush it. I took polls on social media. I asked my friends for feedback. I asked my husband to look at it. And I researched what resonates with my target audience. Something that I think a lot of people neglect is the power of research and the internet, and honestly, even ChatGPT, that you can type in, look up your competitors and ask ChatGPT or ask the internet, like, what is standing out about this brand kit here? What stands out about the font? What stands out about the colors? You can do social media audits on ChatGPT now, where your branding can be prominent and understandable to your audience. Your brand needs to speak directly to your ideal clients. Don't skip this part. It's what will help you stand out from your competitors. Tip number 3 is about templates and communication. So next up, communication is key. You need to create templates for invoices and project agreements. I have so many templates for everything, and I try to keep them well organized in my Canva account. And if you don't already have Canva yet, I very much so encourage you to get Canva. If you're a business owner, I encourage you to just pay for the premium account because it saves me so much time and effort, and I'm able to create all the templates that I need for my designs and my invoices and project agreements, quotes. And in the beginning, I didn't use these tools, and honestly, I paid the price. I went on a lot of word of mouth. I didn't do research on what legally is supposed to be in project agreements. I was kind of just writing it up or hoping that an email or a text would suffice, but that's not the case. The key to building strong professional relationships with clients is clear written agreements. So when you're starting out, it's easy to get excited and say yes to everything. And I'm sure you've heard this from a lot of business owners. But as you grow, you'll need to protect your time and ensure projects are clear from the get-go. Again, I've been in so many situations where counting on a word of mouth or a text or an email has gotten me not the pay that I deserved, or a client that was unhappy because we weren't on the same page about communications. So you can use templates for invoices and agreements. This makes everything easy, and these documents can help you set boundaries, manage your expectations, and keep everything transparent. I'd be happy to share with you my project agreement. If you comment down below, I could be happy to send you a project agreement that I have or advice that I've gotten more on the text that needs to go in project agreements. Right now, honestly, what I have is I have a timeline set out for my clients. I have a price point that they're to expect, whether that's by project base or hourly. And I also have how they can pay me and within what amount of time. That's something that's important too, is to note within how long you expect your payment to come in. I also have a paragraph that sets up my understanding of the project and what it's supposed to include. And then on the second page, I have things like usage agreements or things that educate the client on what things that I am allowed to do with the things that I've created for them. So for example, if I create graphics for them in my project agreement, I state that I'm allowed to use any form of that graphic as an example on my website as a form of my work. And then the last thing that I have on my project agreement is a schedule of my time. So since I have a 9 to 5 outside of my freelance business, I have to be clear to my client, these are the hours that I'm available to work. Outside of those hours, you cannot expect me to work on that because I have a 9 to 5 job. As long as you set that expectation up from the beginning, your client should respect those boundaries. And if they don't, that's a big red flag from the beginning. So project agreements and quotes and all these again, branded templates will show your clients that you mean business. And tip number 4, don't underestimate social media. Now, I'm sure a lot of you out there have probably already gotten a social media for your business, or you've picked one form of social media or two that you would like to start working on for your business. So yes, it can feel overwhelming, again, to juggle your personal life, your side hustle, and keep up with a business social media, but it's an essential tool for growth. And as I've talked to more and more clients that I've done social media for, I've done social media for my 9 to 5 job. I think something that has been a continual thing that I've noticed is that social media is indeed a beast. And as the algorithm continues to change and becomes random, and it feels like you don't even know what to do with it anymore because advice is coming from you side to side. I think the important thing at the end of the day is to just do something on social media. Unless you're paying for ads, it's a free way to advertise to a countless amount of people, right? So as I'm starting out my new podcast, I've started a Instagram, and I've been trying to figure out whether it would be smart to connect it to my AQ Media page, and how I can do that strategically and involve my other following here and there. And it has been frustrating a little bit from the beginning to build an account from the ground up. Even with my AQ Media channel, which I started in Yuma, I've seen good enough growth on there, and some videos have done really well. Others have just been more for fun. So it can be frustrating at times, but it's a free way to reach sometimes an unlimited amount of people. And yes, you can pay for ads, you can collab with other people, but I think it's just important that anyone who's starting out as a freelance business, you just pick at least one social media platform to use and do your research on it. If you're not using social media to promote your freelance business, you're missing out. And odds are your potential competitors are ahead of you in that way. Platforms like Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook are perfect for showcasing your work and attracting your ideal clients. And even if you are someone who sells a physical good, you can use online stores like Shopify or TikTok Shop now to sell your goods in a real, tangible way. And don't worry about posting all the time at first. If it's too overwhelming, you can use tools like I mentioned, Canva, and Facebook and Instagram's scheduling features to save time and ensure you're posting consistently. Meta is a free software that you can use to schedule out your posts as far ahead as you want. So it's not necessarily about working harder with social media because it can be really overwhelming, but just working smarter. Put in the work and the time that you can with social media and just trust that it'll do its thing. Tip number 5, set your boundaries. One of the most important tips that I can give you today is to set your boundaries with your clients. This is critical if you want to avoid burnout. When I started freelancing, I didn't always speak up about my non-working hours. Like I mentioned before, this is a crucial paragraph that I added to my contract, and I bend over backwards for clients and end up drained. And I remember some point last year, I was completely at my wit's end and I didn't want to do anything that had to do with my business anymore. And that'll happen if you work with enough clients that won't respect your boundaries. And if you're like me, who's a person that says yes too many times, is in a pushover and people pleaser, then you're going to get burned out. And you don't want that, because at the end of the day, your passion is worth pressing into. So you need to be clear when you are and you aren't available. Be upfront about your expectations and your limits. Remember that your time is valuable and you should be paid for the work that you put in. So set your tone early and don't be afraid to say no if something isn't a good fit. At the end of the day, freelancing isn't easy, but it's so worth it if you're passionate about your work. It takes time to build momentum, but if you focus on your passion, your brand, your communication, your social media, and your boundaries, you'll get there. Remember, it may feel slow at first, trust me, I know that, but keep pushing. Eventually, you'll see your hard work pay off. If you want to learn more about creating templates or you need help telling your own story, I'd love to partner with you. Let's make your freelance dreams become a reality. If you like these tips, don't forget to like and subscribe to AQ Media. For more insights on building your freelance media business, make sure to hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Thanks for watching, and remember, everyone has a story, so go out there and tell it. I so enjoyed having you here with me today. Do you want to watch another video? YouTube thinks you'll enjoy this one here.